Hello, in this training we are going to search and download OpenStreetMap data. So OpenStreetMap data is a database of information from all over the world. Say you wanted to know where all the movie theaters were in a specific area, or maybe you wanted to know where restaurants or fast food places. All that information is available on OpenStreetMaps. In other words, called OSM is the acronym. And so we're going to download that information. And why is this information useful? Why don't we just use, a search engine on Google or something? Well, Google or another search engine doesn't have the lines, the points, the polygons that we want to use inside of QGIS. And this is one of the places you can find that information really rather easily. So first of all, our first step is, of course, you've got QGIS open. And what you're going to do is go up here to plugins, and you're going to click on Manage and Install Plugins. And that would take you to step 2. And in step 2, oops, I've already got it there. I want to delete that so you can see what I did. You're going to want to call, in the search bar, you're going to type in quick OSM. Again, OSM is OpenStreetMap. You can see there's only one option there. And we're going to go down here and click Install Plugin once you've got it selected. Okay. So I'm installing the plugin. It should happen rather quickly. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and close that screen. You can go back up here to Vector. And we're going to go down here to Quick OSM. We're going to click on Quick OSM. We're going to move on to our third step in the lab. And you can see we've got a couple of things to look for. All different types of things. House numbers, advertising, postal codes, streets are all there. But we're gonna try amenities here. And this particular lab calls for, this would not be my choice, but they're going for a bar. Okay. All right, and we're going to click, so we've got amenity and bar, and click add, and we're going to change this to or. If you've ever tried to look for something on a library website or in different places, they have ands and ors, right? So the difference between and or is if you wanted to find a location where there is both one thing and another in the same spot, then you would get use and. But if you're looking for one or the other, and you wanted them both to show up within a given criteria, then you could do or. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to find another amenity. Here it is, amenity. And then we are going to look for pubs. Pub, there it is. And of course, those are slightly different. I don't drink, so I don't know what the difference is, but we'll go with that. Okay. Then we're going to run down here to advanced. We're going to click on that. We're going to unclick everything but node and points. Okay. This is going to be point data anyway, and so that is what we're looking for. And we want to find it in London. So let's put London up here, London, in London. Okay, so this is going to look for both of those inside of London. Okay, if this was and, then they would have to be exactly the same places, but we're not doing that. So we're going or. And so now that we have everything, we can go and click Run Inquiry right here. And it's brought in some information for us. Let's take a quick look at that. If we open up the attribute table real quick, you can see that there's going to be lots of information. You've got amenities that are either bars or pubs in that area. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that out, and we are going to go to symbology. So we'll click on symbology. It's this button right here on the end. And over here, I'm going to move myself over just a tad. And what we've got here is some stuff. We're going to change the single symbol into categorized. And then we're going to change the value to amenity. And then we're going to come down here and click classify. And what that's just doing is it's looking into our field, our attribute table field, which is right here, and it's going to classify everything by the difference. So it's either going to be a pub or a bar. Okay, so we'll classify, and we can see now we've got a difference between the bar and the pub. It's either blue or green, and you can see the difference over here. No reds, because that would be empty, right? Okay. All right, so now let's say we want to save this as its own shapefile. We can export this. We can save. So I right-clicked on here, by the way. Right-clicked my mouse. I went to export, and I'm going to click Save Features As, and there's my features. If this format comes up differently, the first time I did this, it came up something else. I think it was like GeoRSS or something. Make sure you change this to GeoPackage to make sure that it works correctly. Then you're going to make sure you save that into your GIS folder. Give me a new folder here. Training 11A. That's just the number I've got on here, and we'll call it London. Okay. And then I'm going to click Save. And then layer name, I'm going to change the layer name to bar and pub. Okay. Making sure that this is correct. We didn't change that, so it should already be correct. And I think that we are ready to go. And we can click OK. And we can see that it popped up here, over here. This down here so you can see the difference. Why do I feel like I did something wrong? I'm going to try this one more time, because when I have this up here, it should show me all the amenities. Now I could switch this by going to symbology and fixing it by again doing categorized, but it was supposed to do it automatically. Amenities, classify. There we go. That's better. All right, and so there we go. We've got our amenities. Now, this doesn't do much good unless you can see the streets and stuff, right? And so what we're going to do now, and this is beyond the instructions, but we're going to pull in the OpenStreetMap. Just pull it in. Okay, we don't see our site, so we need to pull this down here. So I just pulled it down, and now we can see. Now what you can do is create your map. So let's close out that information, center it pretty well, and then we're going to create a map to turn in for our assignment. So project, new print layout, click OK. All right, so let's us take what we created in the QGIS and make us a map to turn in. So we can do that as usual. We're going to add a map. Click and drag. We're rendering our map. So this is London, and we need our usual things on here to make it awesome. We need a label. So I'll put it up here and say London pubs and bars. Well, let's do it alphabetically, bars and pubs. Okay. And so we can change this a little bit. Of course, we're going to change the color to, gosh, we'll just keep it black, I guess. And let's increase our size here. I'm going to make it bold. There we go. And add a scale bar. Right here, you know, I love my double boxes. It's in metric because London is in Europe and they use metric system. Let's do an arrow. Oops. Did I do the wrong arrow? North arrow is what I wanted. So I messed that one up for a second. And then we need our legend. We'll put that right here. So just a reminder, and getting rid of all of this extra stuff, you need to click on the checkbox for auto update. We're going to get rid of this and this. We don't need it there. We could bars and pubs. There we go. We entered that in, and we're just going to get rid of this one too. There we go. And then capital letters, just good form to put bars, and then pubs. Okay. All right, so there we go. We've got our legend, we've got our scale bar, we've got our north arrow, and our title, and we can see all of those different types of bars and pubs and where they're at. Okay, and so then, as usual, you're going to create a PDF, export as PDF, and I put in my last name, Klein, and bars, London bars and pubs. Okay, and then I can click save into my training folder here. Let's go into GIS. There's 11A and click save. And save, and I've got my PDF. Okay? All right, so you'll turn that in, and then you can move on to the next assignment.